17 seconds and counting. Guidance internal. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. Engines on. 5, 4, 3, 2. Liftoff. We have liftoff. 49 minutes past the hour.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Aporia Beyond's podcast. This is episode number 2, and I am your host, Anthony Scalzi, and I'm with my co-host here.
What's going on, everybody? Ron here. I hope you guys are having a great day and hope you guys are ready for this amazing episode 2 of our podcast.
Yeah, we're going to be covering some pretty interesting news, talking about the U.S. government closing TikTok down in the United States, Europe, and Canada, which would leave many content creators homeless for their platforms. And we're also going to be talking about some new games that have just come out. So we got a lot to talk about.
So before we get started today, I actually want to give a heartfelt moment of silence for Lance Reddick. You guys would probably know him off of probably The Wire, some of the John Wick movies, and most importantly, he's been in Destiny. He played the character Zavala. So I'll just like to give him a moment of silence. He sadly passed away today at the age of 60. All right, and we're back. So again, thank you guys for tuning into the podcast today, and we hope you guys enjoy this episode.
Yeah, let's dive right into it. So let's talk about it, right? TikTok. If the U.S. government is to successfully block out TikTok from the United States and other regions, I think it was Canada and the United Kingdom. So should that happen, there is going to be a lot of content creators and live streamers on that platform who are not going to be able to carry over their following unless they start now on pushing marketing efforts to getting everyone to follow their other socials, just in case like this does actually go through.
Yeah, and it's a really scary time. It's kind of gives me flashbacks of when Mixer shut down. That effectively ruined a lot of people's creative chances and things like that. And like you were saying, if they don't start moving their content over to another platform such as like YouTube, which is probably going to be the main source of news for everybody going forward, it'll hurt their chances to become, more of what they've been doing. Like, it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be hard for TikTok audiences to convert to YouTube, even though they have the same short format. It's the layout's a lot different. It's a little bit more kind of, YouTube's been around, so their format's a lot different than TikTok's. And I don't know how people are going to adjust to that because there's no For You page. There's just like the short section. I don't know if this is going to push people to create more longer format that were like top creators on TikTok. And if that's the case, then what's YouTube going to do about how they run their shorts and how they run their long form content? Are they going to offer TikTok like partners like that were partnered on there? Are they going to offer them YouTube partner right away? Are they going to do a little bit more for creators going forward, trying to help like fill everyone in and make them feel at home again? Are we going to get like a new platform from a creator out there somewhere? There's a lot of questions and just not enough answers to fill that void.
Yeah, and I've even thought and speculated about the return of Vine. I know Elon Musk, he had mentioned it, I think, a few months ago that he would potentially bring it back. But now knowing that this is happening with TikTok, that it's a strong possibility that it gets removed as an application in the United States and North America in general, all those creators finding the right platforms to go to now is going to be more difficult, because what ends up happening is, if we kind of refer back to the Mixer gaming days when that came out, and there was a lot of new content creators that made a name for themselves on that platform. And I know with Ninja and Shroud getting those two large contracts to just go over from Twitch to Mixer, that blew up the platform. They made the most the most amount of money in the least amount of time for what they had to do for this deal. So it was a sweet deal for them. And then, but in the long run, all these new creators who developed a career on the platform are now surviving off of, the funds that they're making from, the subscriptions, donations. I forget what it was on Mixer. Was it bits? Not bits.
It was a crystal. I can't remember exactly what it was. The gems, yes.
Yeah. So I know that when, a lot of those creators were relying that, for the living, that the expenses they had to cover and everything else, right? Like that was in question, right? And then the same thing kind of came up in my mind, like, will TikTok have those kind of issues with paying out their creators? If all of the people are banned from using it here, I really don't know what to expect from that.
Right. And from my knowledge, they are pretty decent at paying out their creators for their, that's part of the creator funds there. But there are also some alternative like platforms. I don't know if you ever heard of like, Meet Me, if you ever heard of that, or like Scout, or like Plenty of Fish, those kind of websites. They're usually used for like dating or meeting new people. But years ago, I want to say they started in like 2019-ish, that those kind of apps have kind of changed to having like a live cam type feature, and people can send things like you could on TikTok Live. They could send them people like stars or whatever TikTok calls them. You can kind of send stickers, and that would be another kind of route people could take.
Yeah.
The only problem I'm going to see with this is people that are huge on TikTok and they know they are. I don't know if they're going to be able to do the same thing they can on these other platforms that don't have the same like algorithm, right? It's like night and day. And from my knowledge, Facebook or Meta is going to start getting rid of the creator fund for their own, like Reels is what they call it, Reels, and Instagram call it Reels. Yeah. They're going to take away the payments for that, which then leaves like,
which makes you think of immediately monopoly.
Yeah, like right there. And the problem is, let's say YouTube doesn't give the TikTok creators partnership right away, they're not going to make money. You can't monetize your stuff on there until you're a partner. So I don't see these routes being very good. And if they had to use these routes, such as like Plenty of Fish, there's no way you're going to get the same numbers you're going to get from a TikTok short or a YouTube short. And you have to go live more, which a lot of people still aren't comfortable with being a huge creators. And it just adds this big influx of questioning, what am I going to do? Where am I going to create my content? Like, what am I, like, they're going to have to like change everything they're doing because there's not like quote unquote trends on like YouTube for shorts. They don't have that kind of thing like that. And there's a lot more like copyright stuff you have to worry about on YouTube and stuff like that. Like, it's just right at this point, if this does go through, like, there's just going to be so many unanswered questions and like uncertainty going forward. So it's just like, you have to ask yourself, like, if you're a creator and you're making these and you're doing well on these platforms, what can you do today, right now, to start getting the exact same results on other platforms? I mean, look at Kick. Kick's, pretty much cut like a carbon copy of Twitch. And people are moving over there because of the split you get. It's I believe it's what, 95-90 or 95-5 split, right? That the creators get. And if let's say we're talking about Twitch. Let's say if Twitch did this, right? They're gonna ban Twitch forever. Where are you gonna go? You're gonna go to Kick and risk everything for this platform that might not even be around in a year to 2 years. Like, you don't know. Like, it's just right now is a terrible time to be a creator. You have so many like revenues and options to like go through. You just don't know where you're gonna go. Your paths are just like going 360 around and around.
Yeah,
and it's just, there's no one you can really listen to be like, come here, go here, it's going to be better here. You got to do that decision for yourself, and it's always scary doing that. So I just I want to see if this does go through. I want to see the first initial wave of what happens like after it goes through, because if TikTok is banned in the US, what's going to happen is it's on the Play Store and it's on the Apple Store, right? So the only way you can get updates are from those platforms. And what's going to happen is they're going to stop sending out updates because TikTok is still going to be alive, other places. But here, they just, Google and Apple will not pay for them to do updates anymore. So the app's going to start becoming slower over time. It's going to, you're not going to get updates. So it's slowly going to die, but you can still use it. So it's just, it is just all up in the air, and it is not a good look for any creator involved right now.
I think knowing now that what a lot of creators should do is you should have, like everything else in life, a backup plan. So you have your main platform, right? If it's going to be TikTok, if you're a TikTok content creator, you need to think about your plan B. And is that plan B going to be YouTube, Instagram? There's so many other types of platforms that are more tailored towards streaming, like Twitch and Kick, and there's so many other smaller ones. But the question is really, which one's going to benefit you the most? You might have a contract with these, with TikTok, or if you're a Kick content creator and you're a partner on there too, there's no way to know how long those platforms are going to last. It's, no matter what, content creation will never die, but when it comes to making a decision on what your backup platform will be, you always want to keep that in mind so that you could always have another place to kind of go to and keep growing, and don't let it phase you. A lot of people let those, it's unfortunate news when you hear a platform is going to be closing, but it's just like a job. None of these jobs are secured forever. So you always got to have these backup plans and be mindful what platforms that you want to be supported on, where you can make your revenue streams, where you can get the most sponsored ad revenue from, because that is the easiest way to make money in content creation, is through ad revenue. So, there's a lot of different things to consider in all this. But real quick, I just want to take a moment to switch gears, and we'll come back to this topic in a minute. But I wanted to mention that today, Diablo 4 just came out with the open beta early access, and I was watching some of the gameplay, and it looks really, really good. So if you're a Diablo fan, make sure to go check that out. But if you are, you should already know about the open beta right now. But yeah, now we can
I've never been like a big Diablo person. I've always liked the game. I've just never played it a lot. I do know that one of my coworkers today was talking about it as well, and he was saying how excited he was to try it out. And he said that they're doing a little bit more like open world type thing in it, and I didn't know how I feel about like Diablo doing that, but he said that they'll probably keep all the dungeon type things, and I was like, that had to make sense because Diablos were it's known for Diablos to have the dungeons and all these different ones. So I wonder how that's going to work out, and hopefully they keep that kind of systematic rhythm to it, because that was one of the staples of Diablo.
Yeah. Have you ever played Diablo?
Yeah, I've played Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Not like a lot of hours into them, but I have played them.
Okay. Yeah, see, I don't think I've ever played. I want to say my friends maybe played one, but I think it would have been Diablo 3. But I didn't play it for very long. Before I ever touched a Diablo game, I used to look at it and I thought it was an RTS. And I found out it wasn't. So, but you live and learn. But yeah, so going back to the topic of, TikTok, and, also talking about the other streaming platform, Kick, right? A lot of content creators have a lot of options and a lot of things to consider right now. And, Ron, I think getting your perspective on this, on switching, right? Like switching to another platform. Should people make these rash decisions now, or wait to see the repercussions of what happens with these platforms? long term?
So, as one that has switched, I think I've done a stream or a few streams on every platform except for Kick, since it's still new. I've been on like Trovo, DLive, stuff like that. I'm always a person to keep my mind open about the routes that are out there. I do think if you're a creator right now and you want, you see all this going on about TikTok, I think you should not put all your eggs in one basket and see what happens with TikTok. I would definitely encourage people to venture out and stream on some of these other platforms. I would say try Kick. It's new, it's fresh. A lot of eyes have been on there. So even if that doesn't work out for you on there, you probably can bring a lot of your community with you to Twitch if you go there. If you go to like YouTube, I know the YouTube team themselves, they are working very hard on the YouTube gaming side and making it a better overall experience for all the streamers. But then you have your other routes you can go. You can go to like Facebook and do it on there. I've heard there's a lot of mixed reviews about going to Facebook and streaming, especially from some of their top creators. A lot of them are being extremely frustrated there. But I want creators that are listening to this to really think about where they see themselves in 5 years. Do they see themselves still creating content? And if they do see that, they definitely need to get into a new platform and build a community on there. So if TikTok does go down, they do have that community still boasting for them on these other platforms. So you're not starting brand new. I've had to start brand new.
So we can agree that getting them to start pushing their followers to another platform that they would, essentially go to if the platform should go down, they should start doing it now. And
yes,
the longer you wait, and potentially if, maybe it doesn't happen, but you have to think that no matter what, you're still growing your other channels in preparation of the worst case scenario. And you got to you have to think like that as a content creator. And the thing is, like with Kick is relatively new. It's a copy and paste from Twitch for the layout. It's obvious. And, I think with the intentions that they have in doing this, it's hard to tell, really what these, like people like Trainwreck, like the kind of understanding what they're thinking about, like this is something we never really seen happen before, where a content creator kind of takes their own initiative and creates their own streaming platform. It's different, but there is a lot of faults to the decisions that they're making with the platform that kind of gives it a lot of red flags. And as a content creator, you should think about the longevity of your career and about all the opportunities that come available to you. So
I do agree with that. Kick right now, though, the only problem I see with Kick right now in the beginning is that there's not really a TOS, and that can get creators in a lot of trouble outside of Kick, right? So if you're making content that's not live, it's so much easier to get kind of like copyrighted. It's so much easier to get in trouble with brands, with these other companies that see this, because you can still make clips, I think, on there. And I've already seen a couple viral stories come out from creators on there that have done wild stuff, and it's not a good look. I'm not saying every creator is going to have those kind of moments, but as the platform as a whole, if I'm a business coming to this platform and seeing these stories and seeing this happen, it would definitely make me shy away from there and going back to the trusted platforms. It's more so like Twitch and YouTube. Anthony, since you own, your brands and stuff, what would you say? Let's say you're going in and you're looking on Kick and you see these kind of streams happening and there's no terms of service and you're just seeing wild stuff. How would you feel like as the business going into this and looking for creators?
Well, it's like most companies, they have guidelines of essentially like morals of what we kind of value. If these content creators, not the platform itself, but the creators, if they represent what we do and embody everything that we do. So it's just, those are the kind of things that a lot of companies look for in their partners. And, you know, seeing that kind of types of situations occur on a platform that the creator is that's working with, you know, it's of course known. And I think a lot of brands would deviate from that, you know. I think a lot of brands within the industry have a lot of respect for the fact that they have good morals for the people that they work with. Not all companies, but a good portion of them do. And I think with the content creators, just be mindful that if they go to these platforms and you have content creators who are doing a lot I saw there was like a ritual, like some kind of like Satan is satanic type ritual for on Kick, and I was like, I couldn't believe that actually happened.
That's wild.
But like that, and having a lot of female content creators who are uncensored with their like OnlyFans and things like that, which kind of impacts the different content creators that are focusing on gameplay and personality and things like that. So a lot of red flags that go up for companies when they consider people that they're working with, because they take that into consideration, because that's what they're exposing their client base to, and it may not be the type of target market that they want to have. If you ever go on the Kick website and that you see the featured creators, if you were like going into with your business mindset and you go on Kick and you see the, you know, those kind of creators on there on the front page, would that be like an automatic red flag that would deviate you from not looking for like different categories? Yeah, 100%. And I also would say too, like direct endorsements with the platform Kick, you know, they're not going to get a lot because of there's just
brand
too many
fees,
loopholes.
right?
There's too many loopholes on this website. Like they streamed, like Jake, I'm going to reference Jake Sucky. He does a lot of reporting in the gaming industry, and he reported on them on Kick, Trainwreck, and I think his name was Aiden, or I forget his name. So the other guy who joined as a partner from Twitch, and took that
guessing
chance.
Aiden Ross. I'm
Aiden
guessing.
Ross, yeah.
Okay.
You know, Jake Sucky's been trying to get this information out of them, and they're not sharing it. There's like, they streamed the Super Bowl on Kick, and then they said they got permission from one of the players, but just because a player is a part of the NFL, that doesn't mean that they speak for the entire
company
of the NFL. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that came up in that discussion, but there's a lot of there's a lot of attention on this, and I'm curious to see like what the answers are to these mysterious, you know, these crazy things that are happening on this platform, and how it's still being allowed.
Right.
You know, I expect to see Twitch begin a lawsuit with them. I'm sure they've already began, and they're working on a case. Like, I'm speculating here, but I would personally believe with the amount of time that would go into something like this to stop this platform from growing, I think Twitch is going to try to impede on this. So
what I don't understand about Kick is what possessed them to do like a carbon copy of Twitch, knowing how big the brand is, and knowing, you know, because I think they're like the poster child for streaming. What's the point of them doing the exact same thing? Like, I don't, like, there's so many routes you could have went to like doing your layout and everything like that.
The layout for Twitch is good. I think they kind of, you know, I could at least say that much. Like the UI on Twitch is good, but I think they wanted to capture the same essence of what everyone's kind of been familiar with. I understand that, but I mean, fair. you can't copy the UI.
You can't word for word. Yeah. It just doesn't work. It's not going to work.
It's too similar. It's too close.
There's no difference. It's green. Yeah. Like there's your difference. It's green.
That's not.
They're like, they slapped this on an essay and it's just like, all right, my name's on it. It's mine. Like, no, that's not how that works.
But yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see what happens with it. And honestly, I would just say for the most part, if you are a content creator and you are listening to this podcast, you know, really just consider all of your options and fit the needs of your best interest of what you're wanting to do with your life and with your career. And
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, other than that though, I think is there anything else that you wanted to discuss?
No, I think that covers it for this episode.
Awesome. Everyone, thank you so much for listening in to the Aporia Beyond podcast. We will be working on our 3rd episode, which will be coming out next week. And we'll be covering some of Sons of the Forest and a couple other games and news related. Make sure to follow our podcast, follow our social medias, and make sure to join our Discord to be involved with our community.
Thank you guys. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay amazing.
Thank you guys
so much.
This is Anthony, and I'm out.